Forget spies, moles, and the NSA. Could the U.S. use body language to figure out Russia's next move in the Ukraine crisis? With President Obama all but calling his Russian counterpart a liar, noting Putin's words don't match the facts on the ground, USA Today says the U.S. government has used a technique called movement pattern analysis to try to figure out Russia's next move in the Ukraine crisis. The Pentagon admits to studying Putin's body language back in 2008, but denies studying him again with respect to what's going on in Ukraine. Janine Driver joins us now live from Washington for more. She's the author of the book, You Can't Lie to Me, and the president of the Body Language Institute. So Janine, what kinds of things could the government learn from studying Putin? Anything more than just personality traits?
Yes, I think that what they're looking for right now, the team they're using in the Pentagon, they're trying to determine most likely how quickly is he going to take action. Is he spending a lot of time gathering research? Is he going to spend a lot of time doing pluses and minuses and invading the Ukraine, maybe taking that peninsula permanently for Russia? Or how quickly is he going to pull the trigger? He's going to pull the trigger really quickly on taking action. In general body language, we're looking for all of the nonverbals. What does it say? My specialty is detecting deception, which we have loaded with Putin in the last week or two, is a lot of deception that we can prove. He's telling us things that aren't true.
So, okay, let's get to specifics. Putin first broke his silence on the Ukraine at a press conference earlier this week. What did you take away from his body language while he was defending his actions and blaming Western powers, especially the United States, for causing, I think he called it, anarchy and an armed coup in Ukraine?
Well, you see with his right hand, he did just a second ago, a zero. Literally, this is how he feels probably about the United States of America. And then he does a chop. And that chop with his hand is very aggressive. It's like a karate chop. It's very aggressive. We used to see with Bill Clinton and we saw with Tony Blair, they did the thumb of power. America, I want you to listen. He is not using this little thumb. The thumb of power is a combination of pointing and chopping. Putin is not doing that. He's not taking the softer approach. He is taking, this is who America is. He's calling us lab rats, that we're doing experiments. We don't know where the outcome is. We're big fat zero in his book. He's trying to intimidate us with his nonverbals.
What about deception? What are the signs of deception that helps him, for example, perhaps be a liar?
Well, it's very interesting, Joe, that you're asking me that, because there are common signs. One is contempt, which is moral superiority. It looks like this. It's a smirk on our face, saying yes, but shaking your head no. And a big one is shoulder shrugs. A shoulder shrug is uncertainty. I don't plan on taking over the peninsula in the Ukraine. The problem with Putin is we see none of that. We know as a fact he's lying about his soldiers. He's trained those soldiers. He said he didn't train the soldiers. He's in there with a huge presence, thousands of soldiers. He's saying that those aren't his soldiers. We know he's lying, but we're not seeing any of those nonverbal tells. That makes him a scary threat and a scary leader. Why? He used to be KGB, right? So here's a guy that's so controlled with lying. Why is that, Joe? Powerful liars literally focus on the rewards, not the consequences. Powerful liars literally, Joe, have a decrease in their cortisol, that stress hormone that's released when we're nervous. A powerful liar in the moment of lying has that decrease in cortisol and an increase in this happiness. They literally are so good, powerful liars. When one lie doesn't work, oh, you misunderstood me. What I meant to say was this. They have an increase in their cognitive functions. So when one lie doesn't work, they can divert and do a smokescreen. And Putin is a pro at it. It makes him a very dangerous threat.
The other question, I think you've heard so much in Washington about Putin needing an off-ramp. Do you see this as a guy who's sort of projecting the body language of someone who's trying to find an escape route to get out of the crisis?
I do not see this as a man who's ready to take action for an escape route. You kidding? Putin is all about, not wearing his shirt, and he's holding a rifle and riding a horse and fishing and swimming in a river. And he's all about, my dog is bigger than your dog. George W. Bush wrote a memoir, and he talked about how he showed him the little dog that he had, a Jack Russell Terrier, a terrier dog, and a tiny little dog. His name was Barney. And then Putin, when Bush goes over to Russia, Putin brings out this big, huge chocolate lab, this black lab, and Putin says, my dog, faster, stronger, more powerful than Barney. It's always, mine's bigger than yours. I don't think he's going to take an off-ramp, unfortunately.
Right,
I hope I'm wrong.
This goes both ways, right? The U.S. can also read Putin's language, so the Russians can do the same thing to Obama. Do you take anything away from the president's body language that's pretty interesting?
Well, it's interesting. There was a phone call recently. We see Obama in the Oval Office talking with Putin. Here's the picture now. We see Obama's right hand on his hip. Obama likes to take a lot of phone calls standing up, which is a great sign of a powerful leader. It's someone who's ready to take action. You can't take action when you're sitting down. So he's standing up. But interesting about Obama here, he's right hand on his hip while he's talking. And he has a very wide stance. So we see him in a casual outfit. I think this was a snow day, actually, in Washington, D.C. last Monday. So this wide stance we see, this is in law enforcement. I come from the law enforcement world. I used to be with the Justice Department. In law enforcement, we call this, Joe, a short, fat candle. When someone stands and their feet are very close together, they're seen as a tall, skinny candle. You bump a table with a tall, skinny candle, it falls over. A short, fat candle on a table, when you bump the table, the candle stays still. So Obama is saying, I'm a force to be reckoned with, too, because I'm not going to be pushed around easily. He's got that nice, solid stance, a broadside display, almost in the Superman pose, taking up the space. Think about it. When a bear in the woods is out to attack you, you see a bear, they say if you have a mountain bike, put the mountain bike over your head to look bigger. I'm a bigger threat. Obama right here is saying, listen, I'm a threat too. Don't mess with me.
Janine Driver, the body language expert. That's just fascinating. When I get back to Washington, I'm going to look you up. Maybe you can tell me about the body language of some of the people I interview for the news.
Yeah, well, you look great. You guys have a great team there. You have great rapport, and I appreciate it being here, Joe.
Thanks so much for that, Janine.